Dungeons are underground labyrinths that appear in random places with a high concentration of dark energy. They are grown stronger by death energy. That's why they use bait to lure many people. Dungeons are always filled with many monsters. They also have a core with many powerful artifacts. The more dangerous the dungeon, the more powerful the artifact. This is why many kingdoms become very interested in dungeons within their area, to uncover mysterious artifacts and increase their overall strength. Dungeon has magic to attract people into it. Now we see very big and beautiful forest, where many people and some soldiers we are finding the dungeon. One of them is our protagonist named Stetch Atelier, who is explorer and guide of these people. Then a man tells him from behind whether this is the place. Stetch Atelier says that this is the oldest dungeon in our kingdom. Very dangerous, and evil energy was coming out from inside that dungeon. That's when we see the guy who was the leader of it all and looks very rich. He tells his guy to unpack everything and get ready because they will be enter the dungeon. He says that it has already taken us a week to reach here. If we take more time here, my two devilish-minded brothers will surely do some scheme against me. And this guy's name is Gerald. Stetch Atelier stands behind and thinks that this man definitely belongs to the big family, because he hired a A-class explorer like himself. The dungeon in front was of a A-class danger. Anyone doesn't dares to enter here, but this guy had a lot of soldiers. Stetch Atelier grants him a skill called pathfinding, which can allow one to find the shortest route to the destination, and another skill called animal instinct, which increases the effect of all his senses. And last but not the least, skill named sorcerer eye, which turns difficult exploration into easy exploration. They reach a place and Stetch Atelier stops them there and tells them to move forward, but tells everyone to be careful because anytime stone can fall. Everyone is shocked to see his ability to detect dangers. He goes a little further and goes to a wall and places some trap-like thing on there, after which he guides everyone and they go to the biggest part of the dungeon. This place is also called the heart of the dungeon, where all the best artifacts are found. And this is where Stetch Atelier has the most trouble because he does not have a much fighting power. Their commander prepares them to fight by making a formation. Stetch Atelier makes a little sound to call the dungeon keeper. You can only go forward in the dungeon after kill dungeon keeper monster. A mighty lion-like monster comes there and make tremendous roar, seeing which everyone gets scared. He makes a roar, but the commander tells everyone that there is no need to be afraid and asks everyone to move forward. The soldiers use the wall shield skill to avoid the lion's fire breath. A soldier tells their commander that the fire is too strong and we will not be able to last long. The commander thinks that the monster is stronger than he thought. The commander asks Stetch Atelier to use his skill to hit the arrow in the lion's mouth. Stetch Atelier hesitates a bit but agrees. He manages to hit the target, but due to this the monster becomes very angry and starts attacking with roar. Stetch Atelier starts running away from there. No soldier was able to compete with that monster. His skin, it was so tough that no arrows could hurt it. The commanders say them to attack monster with their shield. The monster was about to attack Stetch Atelier, but then some soldiers start attacking the monster with their shield and it survives. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the commander attacks the monster. Soldiers make another attack with shield. Now Gerald attacks and kills the monster with all his might, and everyone becomes very happy. Stetch Atelier was about to see such a large dungeon artifact that he never seen. They walk there and finally see the artifact, which was a ring artifact and was releasing green devilish energy. They are shocked. Gerald takes the artifact in his hands and asks Stetch Atelier to touch it if he want. He takes it because he had never seen such a powerful artifact before. He is a little nervous but thinks that according to the deal everything will be mine except the artifacts found in the dungeon, so it would not be wrong to just touch the artifact. He moves his hand towards the artifact, but before that we see Gerald smiling evils. Yes, as soon as he touches the artifact, he gets a tremendous lightning shock. His skin melts and he falls down. Gerald says that the artifact has all kinds of negative energy. You cannot touch them just like that. He understands that he has been trapped. The commander says that the curse is broken and the artifact can be taken now. Gerald says to take out the ring and prepare to exit. Only then he sees that the artifact is covered with veins. Then suddenly that artifact green devilish energy comes out from it. Everyone gets very nervous. That ring of stuck in Stetch's hand and he starts getting many unknown skills. Those people start attacking that devil but nothing was affecting it. Gerald comes to know that it is a legendary symbolic artifact and regret a lot if he know that before he have not done this. Then the cave starts shaking and collapsing. That's why the commander give order everyone out of there and request Gerald for escape. Gerald was getting very angry because good for nothing the poor boy had ruined his entire plan. Stetch Atelier starts falling into the ditch. His skill display written that artifact memento has accepted him as his partner. He swims to the shore and wonders, how am I still alive? Then he see the devil ring on his finger, but don't know how ring get there. The last thing he remembers is that Gerald, that bastard, betrayed him. He thinks, what is happening here? But then a skeleton head comes out of his ring and tells him, yes, you are dead, my partner Stetch Atelier. Now we see outside the cave where only Gerald and his commander were alive, and all the other soldiers were killed due to the cave collapse. Gerald angrily asks his commander why he used the teleportation paper. Commander calls him by saying, Your Highness, and tells that at that time he had no other way. Gerald becomes very frustrated because he brought soldiers without telling his brothers, and now they are all killed. Now he is feeling very sorry because he lost a very precious ring artifact, and his entire army is also finished. Commander says that he has never seen such an artifact of parasitic category which works automatically even after the death of its owner. Gerald tells him that the artifact was not parasitic but an artifact of the symbolic category. His commander did not know anything about it. He explains to him that most of the artifacts are of two categories. One is independent artifact, about which everyone knows in the world, and it is very common use as tools. The second is the artifacts of the parasitic category, which is slightly more powerful than the first one, and ends with the death of its owner. Everyone knows about these two. But there is another symbolic artifact, as we saw in the cave. That artifact was coming back Stetch Atelier after death. It must be a symbolic artifact. The commander says that he also saw Stetch Atelier being revived, but after this he fell into the ditch due to the collapse of the cave. It is impossible for him to survive that disaster. Gerald says let's hope so. After that he tells his commander to walk back to the capital, and also instructs him to place a reward on every village on the way by putting wanted posters of Stetch Atelier. But don't keep too much reward, because of which there may be some disturbance again. On the other hand, that evil skeleton spirit tells Stetch Atelier that he has died but was revived by a passive skill called Restrained Soul, due to which his physical stats have decreased because he had used some other skills as well. That is, in simple words, his physical strength has decreased slightly, but Stetch Atelier does not understand anything. That skeleton tells him, because of you, my power has decreased, idiot. Stetch Atelier asks him who he is and why his voice is being heard in his head. The skeleton tells him that his name is Memento. Now while walking, Stetch Atelier understands that he is an artifact, and asks him if all artifact can talk like him. He tells that not at all. He asks that skeleton that how many unique skills do you have? An artifact with one unique skill is also very good, and if the skill is good then it is more valuable. The skeleton says that he has about 40 skills, and suddenly hearing this, his hand slips and he falls down from the wall. The skeleton calls him useless. He lies down and thinks that some people can't even learn have 10 skills in their whole life. But no matter how much one enhances his gear, one can't learn more than 20 skill. But this small ring can use 40 skills. He asks him if there is any skill that he can use now. Skeleton says he has such a skill, but his mana energy has been exhausted to save him. He has to recharge his mana. He was very tired of climbing. Suddenly Skull tell him that you have 12 hours left, after which you will die. On hearing this he starts sweating. He tells him that he had said that he has revived him, then how can he die? The Skull says is that as long as he is alive Atelier will not die. As long as Atelier is alive he will not die. But if his mana runs out, both of them will be in trouble. He is horrified to hear this. While running he cursing the Skull because he didn't tell this before. The Skull laughs and says that he is not human, so he is not afraid of dying. That Skull says that if you want to stay alive that much, it can give him a lot of power. But he is also given a warning to Atelier, that he should never think that he is his master, because here Skull is a boss, not Atelier. And also whenever he uses the skill when mana is exhausted, he gets some penalty. Atelier agrees to this but asks how he can increase the mana. The Skull says that he has to kill a monster or absorb a curse gear through the curse eating skill. Atelier doesn't understand about curse gear, but he comes to know that he have to kill a monster. He has only 11 hours left. He uses monster instincts to find the monster, but then he remembers that his stats are low. He tries to find footprints and other signs here and there, so that he can find the monster. He reaches a place running and eventually a great wolf monster appears. The Skull gives him a skill called Air Bullet, and it is a very common skill, and he can use it only once right now. He attacks and its power was tremendous. All the trees coming in the way break, and the wolf's stomach bursts. Stetch Atelier remains stunned with open mouth.